DreamHack Masters Winter is brought to you by Intel, Corsair, Monster Energy, and MSI.
Welcome back to DreamHack Winter. It is the Masters time once again, and we have got Gambit going up against Complexity. It's going to be a banger of a game because Gambit have shown us a new face. To talk all of this through, you've got me, James Banks, Pimp and Maniac, and we're back to have a lot of fun again. Yesterday was a smooth old ride, and I'm full of lots of hype.
Yeah, it's going to be great to see two great teams play it out today. And Maniac, I don't know about you, but yesterday was interesting, it was fun, it was exciting, and I expect today to be the exact same thing.
Yeah, I have very, very high demands, very high expectations, but so far they're met, right? We're having a good time, we're laughing together, we're listening to some music in the car when we're driving back. Pimp doesn't agree with my driving, but that's not a problem. It's not for the broadcast, for later.
I love your drive.
You love my drive?
Yeah.
There we go.
He's lying. He's lying.
That's fine. I get it.
I want to be going for a wild ride on the Maniac train all the way home. It's all good fun, lot like these games we are going to see, because we're starting off with Complexity going up against Gambit, right? We've already made that clear. We've got in the upper bracket Heroic taking on Spirit, but we're enjoying the idea of following this Gambit train because they did take down Cloud9, and they did it decisively.
Yeah, they did it decisively, and they showed us, that there is a lot of potential within Gambit. I just do want to say quickly before we go into it, Gambit, last time they lost a game of Counter-Strike was against Na'Vi more than a month and a half ago. Otherwise, they've been winning every single game, every single series, and, that's a big task for Complexity coming up to this matchup.
It really is, right? And when we look at this, you definitely still say that Complexity are the favourites for sure, but what we've seen from Gambit here is proof that hard work pays off.
It feels like it, and I think that Complexity are vulnerable right now for some reason, right? We started last week with their demolition of Sprout. That's the only word that comes to mind. They absolutely massacred them, and then here they are dropping series. They survived this scare against ENCE, but dropping one map. I'm not exactly sure if this is the Complexity that, just steamroll their opponents. They feel like there's a little bit of doubt in their camp.
Yeah, there definitely does. But I know Twitch chat never have a doubt in their choices, right? And they've got to place some votes in here. Pimp, you love a bit of Twitch chat voting. We've got hashtag Cole. We've got hashtag GMB. And you know which way I'm going. You know where the smart people are going. It's Gambit all the way, baby.
I mean, for a team that hasn't lost a series since October the 14th against Na'Vi, yeah, I would go with them as well, honestly. They're winning and winning and winning and winning, and it seems like to me they build up this winning culture within their lineup, and that is something you can't underestimate.
Joe, I've not even got any reason to just sit and go on the CIS train, because at least when it's the Ukrainians, right, I have to, otherwise I'm going to be killed when I go home. But
yeah, what's happening with your Na'Vi loyalty here? Are you allowed to be both two teams? Is that fine?
So I'll have to check with the fiance, right, and make sure that it's fine that I support some Russians in there as well. She might be very proud on the whole Ukrainian side of things. But if it's Na'Vi versus Gambit, I'm still going to have to go for Na'Vi, aren't I?
If he's not here tomorrow, we know why.
Yeah, he's made a mistake. We're just going to have to do the show. Please, be careful, James. Be careful.
I will be careful. But you know a team who also needs to be careful? It is Complexity. Because like you guys were already mentioning, they are not looking like the same old Complexity. We talk about Blame F, we talk about the system that's in place and how it can be done. They're very skilled, they've got amazing individuals on it, but recently, you look at JKS for example, at the beginning we said he's fitting in so nicely, but he's not maybe fully settled just yet.
Matthew said something very smart, and trust me, it doesn't happen
sometimes
often,
it happens.
Sometimes it happens, but they are vulnerable right now, and it's hard to pinpoint as to why that is. Sure, I think maybe some of us, including myself, jumped the train a little bit too early in terms of them bringing in JKS. It's still early days, let's be honest. He's been with the lineup for a month, so there's still room for improvements. They still need to practice all the maps through and get that, synergy with him on the lineup. But as Matthew said, they are vulnerable right now, but we are seeing, individual players showing up. Config yesterday, Blame F, still great individuals, but JKS hasn't really been activated as much as we would have liked to.
I agree. It is quite hard for me to pinpoint exactly what's going wrong with Complexity. You're left with that feeling of, what am I watching, right? What is going wrong? I have a couple of numbers here that could help us, right? 13% of death traded on the CT side. That's an issue for me. They play very individual, right? You used to have 20, 25%. Also, the fact that on the T side, they convert only 57% of the 5v4. 57%. That's barely more than, the half of the rounds where they get the advantage. So the top teams, sometimes 70%, 80% up there. So Complexity right now may be a little bit disjointed. These numbers could be the consequence of JKS just joining, weeks, months ago. So is that just a learning curve for Complexity? I'm not sure. I think every day we learn a little bit more, but you're right, we might have jumped the gun a little bit when JKS came in.
Yeah, and this is the thing, right? We're still learning about how this new version of Complexity is going to look. Another player we focus in on, though, is Poison. When it comes to Mirage, I've seen spectacular performances from him, right? Straight away, he's just there all day long, able to have great sides, right? He has huge impact. You see, he's got a different air of confidence within that map. But when you look in some of the other sides of it, maybe gets a bit lost within the other high fraggers out there.
Yeah, I was just about to say, what about the other maps, James? That's a bit of a problem because you're spot on.
That was Mirage.
Mirage, he's having he's having great series on Mirage and he's having great showings. And I see potential. I see glimpses of what he can do. I see glimpses of what he did, in the beginning of the year when Complexity first emerged. They won that Blast event as well, where he was playing great. So it's not a player who don't have the abilities. I just don't see them, catering into him right now. I don't see them spending a lot of time on making him feel comfortable. I think it's more important you activate Config, JKS, and those kind of players instead of Poison. And right now, he's suffering a little bit from that lack of comfort, dare I say.
Well, looking at Config, right, this is a player who can always be Mr. Consistent. So let's hear what he's thinking ahead of this one.
We feel like we should have won a little earlier. I think we threw away our pass and lost some stupid rounds on the CT side. But we feel great. There was kind of a struggle at the end on Mirage as well, but it's good.
Config gets that kill, but he's gonna find two. Showing that the guy can do everything, and just picking them one by one, like lemmings jumping straight to their death. And
I saw a little bit of the Cloud9 Gambit game, and they looked brutal, like they own Cloud9. I think that we shouldn't be scared of them, but they play this Russian kind of CS that they just full W and they have good aimers and good players. I think it's going to be a hard match, but I think like we have to win. Like it's Gambit, right? So we want to be the best team in the world, so we have to win it.
Interesting, Config. You're saying that Gambit are just typical like the Russian players, right? The whole W, the get the kills in there. They're not quite that. We saw the teamwork. We saw what Gambit had to offer, right? And it's maybe a lot more than what he gives them some credit for right now.
It might be. I mean, we know Gambit are aggressive and we're going to talk about them a little bit later. I just want to touch on Config quickly. He is the hero for Complexity at the moment. He's styling on them. He's really up high. But should that be needed? Should we need to see that Config to see Complexity go through? To me, that might be an issue, but we're going to need him today against these rushers, as he calls them, because it's not that easy. It's not that easy with Gambit.
Well, Gambit, though, we got to talk about these guys because the young guns, right, they got Hobbit alongside them. They're on this amazing streak, like you mentioned, Pim. And for me right now, this teamwork we saw just on their CT side alone, let alone how the T sides were panning out, right, has been very impressive. You can see that their communication is 100% on point.
It's a team that goes under the radar a little bit because you are, as you said, they're on a streak right now. Every time they show up to a Counter-Strike game, they win it. And the game that I talked about where they lost, that's against Na'Vi. And you can't really expect a team out of these 5 relatively young and new players when it comes to top Counter-Strike to beat a team like Na'Vi. So the fact that they're winning against every single opponent they face is a good sign. Sure, it's not the top teams out there. Sure, it's not top 10, top 5 teams, but you can only beat who's in front of you. And they've been doing that. They did it with Cloud9 yesterday, and they will continue to do so if they play as well as they did yesterday. I think Cloud9 made it relatively easy for them in the sense that it was easy for them to, play against the rushers. Complexity, they have to be aware and they have to stop that train.
They do need to be aware, and Nafani, he's always a man with a plan. So let's see what he's thinking after a great day yesterday and potentially another one today.
That is going to be punished as the F-Dive. That's the second kill from Na'Vi.
Cloud9, it's a good team, but we practice versus Cloud9 like a few times. So we knew their play style, And also we checked a few demos on Inferno, so we knew how play on the city side.
He got his skates on. Opened up with the first kill. He's looking for more as well as watching falls.
To be honest, we played versus Complexity in Spring, I guess, or something like that. It was always close games, but they always winning us. So now, I guess, when Hobbit come to us, we will try to beat them, and it's gonna be revenge, I believe.
Good crossfire. That's 3 Cloud9 players on it. 4 was from here as well. And in a matter of 6 seconds, Cloud9 total of crush.
Oh, 5 alive! We know Gambit mean business, and when we look at their map pool, it has been very impressive. Again, against a lot of the tier 2, tier 3 teams for sure,
That's
right?
the point.
It inflates the stats. But on this veto, do you guys see a way in that actually will work it out for them?
You're talking about these stats and how they can be inflated. It makes our life really hard right now to predict the veto. We have the first bans coming in. I want it to mean that Complexity will not be able to play Nuke. Gambit will remove that. That's as much as we know. Then we have the Vertigo ban coming in. So Train is going for Gambit and Mirage for Complexity. Mirage makes sense. That would have been my pick. I knew Complexity would have it open, so I can understand it's very open as well. You can utilize the individuals. We talk about Config, for example, playing catwalk position. He's going to be key. Poison is the name that we mentioned here. And we have Overpass as the last. And that, for Gambit, is a huge win. That is their most picked map. Huge win rate. Nafani 40 chessing that veto. Because I don't really know how they end up on Overpass as the last map.
That was a perfect veto for them. You know, they must feel super, super comfortable. Sure, Complexity on a map like Mirage, they can be dangerous. They can also be dangerous on the first map. But overall, if you're Gambit, there's no way you're coming into this one not feeling comfortable with these maps.
They're certainly not going to be feeling comfortable with these maps. But one thing I think that we're comfortable for Complexity, right, is in their heads they should know that they're the better team.
They have to be. They have to be, but sometimes it's not that easy, right? What we have seen from Complexity is doubt at the moment. We're not really sure what they're going to bring to the table, but I agree with you. Config said it in an interview. They want to be the best in the world, you have to beat Gambit.
You have to beat Gambit. That's exactly what Complexity need to do here, but it's certainly not going to be easy. We're heading to a break, and when we come back, it's game time between Gambit and Complexity. We're about to kick things off on Train. It's Gambit's pick, and they believe they can take down Complexity on it. Complexity, again, coming in as the favourites because Gambit are at a point where they need to prove themselves against the bigger names in Counter-Strike. The veto may look good for them statistically, but for Complexity, I think the key part here is that they willing to show that they can win on any map against this team.
The cool thing about this matchup is, as Matthew said, they seem runnable right now. That is Complexity. Whereas for Gambit, this is a make it or break it, right? If they can beat a team like Complexity, I would finally start to say, okay, they made it into the top scene, right? They beat Cloud9, they beat Complexity, they're on this sick win streak. It is a team we have to take serious against anyone in the world at this point if they're able to put up a fight against Complexity. If Complexity were to lose Maniac, well, they don't only seem runnable, but they're losing serious to teams where you think, okay, they shouldn't be losing.
Yeah, it's always a matter of what's the narrative, where do you see yourself, where do you position yourself in the world of Counter-Strike, and sure, Complexity, they have everything it takes to be at the top, but then when you go on an interview, say we want to be #1, again, you cannot afford to lose these games, no matter how improving Gambit seems to be. This is not a top team at the moment, but this could be a breakout tournament. I believe it's a possibility.
It is a possibility. And I think for Gambit, though, the one thing they need to hold on to is their nerve. We saw it yesterday, right? In the second game, when watching Inferno go down, there was points where you saw not them just run out of ideas, but maybe struggle a little bit more of having that next gear to take it to.
One of the things that worked so well for them yesterday was the aggression coming in from Nafani, and he was so good in those opening duels. I'm sure Complexity, they would be prepared for that. If they can shut that down, we need to see the plan B for Gambit. We need to see them step up and be a better team than they were yesterday if they want to take down the Colossus.
It is such a question to see if Nafani can reproduce that performance against Cloud9. He had 1.69 rating in entry fragging. That is absolutely mind-blowing. Let us see if he can do that again. The first map being Train. We have Complexity starting on the CT side, on the receiving end of that blow from Gambit.
Yeah, JKS and Poison going to be holding the B bomb site here. Poison more towards the back. JKS, middle of the site, back of the bomb train. First smokes and flashes have gone down. JKS has been dinked out of the equation and he's instantly finished off. A good start to come in here with Gambit, but the retake is something they need to be careful of. Poison, he's going to look to keep himself alive in this one because he needs to bide his time and wait for that cavalry to come in and back him up.
There's a smoke and a kill on Rush, and that's going to be so important if they were to get this to work. Hobbit finds a kill, finds another one. Nope, gets taken down by Config. There we go. Retake is on point. Smoke coming in as well. Config wins another duel and is falling apart for Gambit now.
Shiro trying to turn this around though. Poison falls as well. Now it's into a 1v1. The Fanny, he comes in with a pistol round. It was close, and that pushback, it was very good from Complexity. Inters, he made a big mistake there, going out into the open, trying to challenge the fight. That really could have been the thing that potentially cost Gambit the round, but they held strong in the end.
Indeed. Shiro with that turret movement, we see it right here, perfect with the P250, grabbing 2 kills. That second one on Poison is the difference between losing and winning the round. $1 million kill for Shiro. Good start for Gambit. We see Complexity coming in with the full force as they do. Double scout. Deagle for 3 players and a bunch of armor. So it's not going to be easy for Gambit. One of these rounds that you really have to be careful. Nafany, good flash for him. We see him again on the entry fragging department. I've talked about it against Cloud9. It was insane. Config with a couple of warning shots. Oh, Poison. 4v4 now. It's wide open.
Glad you said it, because Nafany, he's already now showing that he's willing to do it again. He's willing to be aggressive. He's willing to go in first. He's not scared that they're playing against Complexity. He's going to play his game. He's going to play his version of Counter-Strike. And that's going to be a big win condition for Gambit if they were to go up against Complexity today and win. Without him, I think they'll struggle, but so far, so good.
JKS can do some huge damage from this position if he's given the chance. Sat out high, a deagle in hand. He can hear what's going on around him. As Gambit, they're carefully clearing out all the corners, all the angles. Poison taking a few pop shots in the dark, but Inters, oh, this would be a nice nade from JKS. Lands directly on the feet of him. Takes him down to 45 health. Won't net himself the kill just yet. Hobbit playing around on the edge of the smokes as BlameF has snuck right in. This is looking really good for Gambit, but this could quickly turn around. BlameF comes through with the deagle, but he's already been softened up some more. Config with 27 health alongside him. It's going to be a tough task for Complexity. Gambit should now be able to finish this off, and BlameF, he won't even be given the chance to run away.
Very polished finish for Gambit, because honestly there were many scenarios in which they could have lost this round. Some of them were softened up. We could see Complexity had already a decent amount of bodies towards the A bomb side, but the pathway to the site was very clear. Utility usage to block behind 6, making sure you have your avenue to make it safely towards the bomb side, and then planting behind. We saw the nade right on the interns, but good job by Gambit. I'm liking what I'm seeing so far. It's controlled, it's polished, it's refined. It's the Gambit that we have seen yesterday. We talk about Nafany as well, using that pop flash to get the entry kill. Again, it's aggression, sure, but it's wrapped in a nice Christmas gift paper. It's well organized.
It is. It really is well organized, and I think there must be a lot of viewers out there thinking to themselves, okay, I didn't know Gambit were this good. Shiro in particular, now this round is going to be easy peasy. Nothing invested in here for Complexity, so it's just going to play out as probably they want to. They have lost one player, and maybe Nafany is going down as well. BlameF is in a good position, but at the end of the day, this is just going to be cosmetic. If he gets a frag here, that's nice, but winning the round, that seems to be out of the question. But tracking back to the point I wanted to make, right, there must be a learning experience for a lot of viewers right now, because Gambit, they are a legit team, James. They are playing some top solid Counter-Strike, and they need to be careful now, because now BlameF got 2 kills.
It's getting costly.
Yeah, he's not going to win the round. I will still bet my money on that, but maybe you want to go for it now, knowing that there's only 2 players left. But anyway, it's way too costly.
Never bet your own money. As a Swissman, I can tell you that. Bet someone else's money, not yours. That can go horribly wrong, but it is true for
That's how I've stayed rich for so long. I keep borrowing yours.
That's why you...
Oh, you borrow.
So wait, are we borrowing each other's money? I mean, is our money we're just using everyone,
No. I'm just using your money, Maniac, right? Yeah.
But then I'm using Jacob's. So.
You were more recently a pro, you know. You made more money than I could have ever done it, so...
I think me and Maniac, we peaked at the wrong time.
The worst time, absolutely.
Just on the cusp before it all went up.
We had a pin for participation back then. BlameF. I mean, let's put the joke aside for a second. BlameF has 3 kills, plus the one on JKS. That is a very costly full eco round for Gambit. So as much as we like to talk about how clean they are, how polished they are, this round is going to cost a lot. They're going to have to basically fully reinvest into this gun round. BlameF, I mean...
Well, it's the Galil, so it's okay.
That was a Galil, yeah. I'm not even going to be disappointed about it. I don't want to play with a Galil anyway.
Who's having that?
Well, BlameF, apparently. Pretty good with it.
Pretty good with any gun.
That's true. Probably the best in-game fracking leader there is right now to the game. Let's be honest. He's a beast and a player that I think some have a tendency to say he's overrated. I don't think that's true. I think he's, I don't think he's true. He's fantastic.
No.
Be ready for him. Nafany, though, maybe a bit underrated. He's the in-game leader for Gambit, and he's in charge of this lead again. Going for the entry frag, finding the first one onto Poison. We talked about him having to step up, but so far hasn't been the night for him. And Nafany, he's not done. He's seeking for more.
Nafany getting away with murder. blameless trying to take a few shots through the smoke. He has a good idea that he might be hiding in it. Config on the edge as well. They've managed to point him in, and that's a really good start now from Complexity to come back into this round. Gambit, they thought they had the moves. They thought they had the opportunity there to play around the smokes, but Complexity played them at their own game.
JKS doesn't know. He's not aware.
He doesn't know about Hobbit, but the bomb is down, so they must realize that there are other players, other people around here. Hobbit will be able to activate onto JKS, but the quick trade comes in from Rush, leaving interns alone. JKS was the hero of that round. Nafany had done a great job creating space, triggering some rotations coming out of Complexity, and as they wanted to pounce towards that inner bomb site, JKS was still here to punish them. Bomb on the floor, that's an information that means the world to them. And with that, the first round for Complexity. And here, my friends, my dear friends, are the consequences of blameF killing everyone in the eco round.
Yeah.
On the right-hand side, it is drought for Gambit. Probably going to go for a full eco, considering that they could buy in the next, but they pay the price of being a little bit messy in the eco round.
A classic economical play, right, Metcher?
Absolutely.
You guys and your eco players, your smart brains, working together as one.
We have our good days.
And bad days. Config has been having a lot of good days lately. He's been playing hearts out. Some of the best Counter-Strike Config may have ever played, especially in newer times. Yesterday he was insane on the last deciding map in the first game for Complexity, dropping more than 35 frags on Mirage, clearing the win for them. And Config has been getting better and better. And you said it, Matthew, is it really needed for him to kill 35 people to win? Well, it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. But when he does, it's a nice luxury to have for Complexity.
Not something you want to try and rely on, though. Especially as you get up to these
You don't want to rely on Config. Trust me on that one. He's a great X factor. Trust me. Maybe one of the best, but reliable doesn't seem like the word for him.
JKS is about to have a really good time. I say that though, I hope the flash is not going to be perfect. There it is. The meat grinder, easy for JKS. Poison's behind him, hand on his shoulder, and that's a triple kill. As a fellow B-trained player, I can tell you, these eco rounds, they make you feel good. They make you feel activated, confident, trusting in yourself, because at times you might not see anyone in 7 and 8 rounds, and when you do, then you need to frag. So good on JKS to be activated early. He also had a lot of impact in that first gun round, so he starts off well for Justin Savage. Gambit now moving in to their second pure gun round. I think they're always going to play with that set of smokes, right? Smoke towards the Elec, a couple of flashes as well, just to scare Complexity, just to make them accustomed to it, accustomed to that rhythm so that one day they can use it. But speaking of using it, 2 entry kills from Poison and Config at the same time. Poison was speaking towards B Hall with the AWP, and Config just being aggressive as he likes to. Perfect start for Complexity.
Yeah, exactly what they would have wanted here. Gambit now hoping that a team like Complexity might make mistakes. Could be a bit of an error for them. It's Complexity. They've met Gambit's aggression with their own. They've taken these more forward positions. And they're going to use it to their advantage any way they can. Plenty of time left on the clock, but heavily outnumbered. Only 1 point of damage done towards Poison. Everyone else is sitting pretty for now on the Complexity side.
Yeah, they're just waiting for the opportunity. Maybe a mistake from one of the Complexity players or a nice shot or something like that. They need to open up the round somewhere, somehow, but it doesn't seem like Complexity are interested in that. They play it smart, they fall back, and they're well aware of the timing as well. 40 seconds left. Not a lot of time to work with if you're Gambit right here. Utility-wise, there's still a little bit smoke, Molotov, flash, but they have to find a kill.
That duel right here is going to be decisive. Fresh can hold his own. Complexity should be in a good position. Good frag from Axel. Shiro's going to wait to be activated, smoking towards team main. They must be aware of his position. Config able to best in the duel. 15 HP left, and blameF is now cleaning up with the AUG. That could have gone very wrong, but Config staying alive made a huge difference.
Config winning that duel right there, James, that is key, right? Because I believe Config shouldn't have taken that duel. They were not really aware he was in there. Maybe they had an idea he was around close main, but the smoke gave him cover, and he could have played off that, played with his teammates. But that is what Config do for you. He is the X factor. He goes for the duels that are not always, you know, supposed to be gone for, and he wins a lot of them because he's good. But Whew, that was risky config.
This is the grind we were talking about yesterday, though, when it comes to Gambit. Shiro has the best KD difference in the world this year by 800 plus more than second place. And that's because Gambit are playing an insane amount of Counter-Strike. Every event, every qualifier, whatever they can go through, these guys are in it.
And didn't they say yesterday, Nafany said that Axel is still in school?
Axel has girlfriend, he's still at university. Yeah, the rest of them have only just finished school as well, just to add to that. Before this, they were still grinding as hard, but also at school. Like, to understand what Gambit invested in this team, it was also the players putting a huge investment.
You know what can be sometimes tricky when you're winning as much as Gambit in the leagues that they play, is that sometimes you might get away with wrong conclusions, right? Because you use these strategies, you use these plays, and you don't really have an opponent that's going to show you what's wrong with it. That's going to show you in your face, you know, the complications or the weaknesses of the move that you're using, and then you end up with a false sense of security. I have to say, so far, it doesn't look like it, but the numbers might be confusing at times.
No, but the numbers in general, right, are completely fair to what Gambit are doing, because when you look at the beginning of the year, they were struggling against those teams. What I see is progression. What I see is learning. They are getting better and not making those mistakes against these teams. So for Gambit right now, it's now to be playing against these kind of teams and learning from that more often.
Yeah, today is the best day for them to do that. The best day for them to show that they can actually go up against the very best in the world. Cloud9, still, jury is undecided as to where they stand. Obviously, such a young and new lineup with Complexity have been around the block for a while now. We should have a really easy time in that round. JKS, man, is just loving life. The bomb plan's going to come through for Gambit, so that's a small victory. That's what they wanted. That's basically the best they could have hoped for. If they can grab a kill or two, just going to be consolation. There you have it. Axel with the Glock. It's always a feel-good moment.
Yeah, and that's money in the bank, and oh wait, I can't say that, can I, James? Never mind, never mind.
I'd say money in the banks, if I had to make.
Money in the banks, take it to the banks. That's what I'll go with.
You could always take it to me, boys. I'm ready. Well, I'll fire back.
Wouldn't do that. You're spending all our money, so let's make sure Gambit keep their money to themselves, invest them into some good guns, some good utility, and let's see what they have in store for us. Because yesterday they were struggling a little bit when they faced adversity, right? The plan A was good, but what about their plan B and plan C? Can they open up a so far strong Complexity?
The first solution came through Nafany, rushing out teammate, grinding that opening kill, and then playing off of it. We'll see if that's something they can replicate. It's kind of hard. I feel like it's one-trick pony to go outside like that. You need, again, as I said, to accustom your opponents to a set of utilities. They're not using it right now. There's going to be a huge 2 versus 2 towards Toxic. Beautiful jump from Shiro. That's Blamef out. Are they aware of Rush? First kill from him. It's going to smoke down and then just count his chicken at the moment the spray is through. And Config, who else? Again, grabbing an advantage, JKS. First duel, not winning it. Hobbit might have just opened the map right here.
A big opening for him. Poison still hanging around. He's expecting that push might come through still, but Gambit, they've got other ideas. They want to regroup. Hobbit's backed off, though. Interesting for now.
Yeah, this is where Config comes into play, right?
Yeah.
A 2 versus a 3, you have to make a play, you have to be proactive. That's where he shines, and seems like the Gambit players are going to face him here outside. Exile.
Well, he's just gone back in.
Yeah.
Timing's not going to work out. They can hear Poison's footsteps. That smoke's going to give away their position, though. It was just thrown before Axel had heard it. Poison now towards the back of the trains. He's looking to find an opportunity, but he has been completely smoked out. Nade going up. Going to do a nice bit of damage to Axel. That could massively help Config here. Hobbit, though, still out towards Pop Dog. The positions here from Gambit are key. It's whether they can deal with the individuals of Complexity. Config sneaking on in and no one's seen him, but he has no information. He has nothing to play off here. He's just hoping one of these players is going to show themselves anytime soon. Axel, the first to see what's going to be going down, takes away the head of Poison. Now Config's all alone, but he's got multiple angles to check. He doesn't know where to look or where to turn, but he is able to try and isolate Hobbit down here. He knows he's in the smoke and he knows he can't go for the round. Config playing it really well, doing all the damage, getting the kills. It's not going to net them a round win, but that's the importance of what Config can do to the money.
That's what having the best position means in a clutch, because even if and even when Config finds these 2 kills, because they've been so separated, they forced him out of the bomb site, he's got no time to defuse at the very end. Good job by Gambit, utilizing that 3 versus 2. Again, clean, organized, calm and collected. They punish the AWP from Poison back 6, and it's only Config, and doesn't matter how good he is, you cannot find everyone where they're hiding.
There was a bit of a problem with that round. Poison had a smoke, and that smoke could have come into play earlier had he not been in such a poor position, you can say. He was locked down towards Ivy, and had they put the smoke on the bomb, then they could have applied more pressure towards Gambit, and by then dragging them out of these perfect positions. Because I do agree with you, they were standing well and they were standing comfortable in their positions, but a smoke could have changed that. Unfortunately, it wasn't happened to be. Hobbit again. Nice play, JKS. He's not expecting it, and once again they lose the control on the bomb side, and Poison as well gets taken down by Hobbit, and that is it. That should be round, done, and dusted. This is the Hobbit we saw a couple of years ago, isn't it? Woo.
That was clean. That was clean. I think that there has been a microsecond of miscommunication between JKS and Poison because you could see JKS did not expect that peak. Poison was on his way to rotate towards the B-bomb side, and Hobbit pretty much found the perfect timing. Now for Complexity, it's pretty much about staying alive. Axile removing Config from the equation, making that a 5 versus 2, but the round is won. About making it cleaner, as I say, they don't really have that much money in the bank. Wow.
He's just taking shots.
There's a smoke up there, gentlemen. That's
Oh,
not regular.
blame.
Oh, what the hell is that?
Axile is in one of those good moods today. It was Nafani last time. This is the problem, right? Nafani, Axile, and Shiro all can deliver in such crazy big ways here for Gambit on these little rounds, right? They've got the individual skill.
You say that in a round where Hobbit is getting two of the most fantastic opening kills, right? That just goes to testament how many different things they have to play off. You're right. Yesterday they won without Shiro really having one of those games, without Exile having one of those games, and they still seem like the better team. So the depth within the squad right here, that is definitely good.
You're a little bit harsh, guys. I'm just looking at the rating they had versus Cloud9, and we had 4 players above 1.25. 4 players above 125.
It's Cloud9.
I guess we can agree that this is a pretty well-rounded performance as a team, right? They had many different people stepping up, and we see it here again. Config, Hobbit with the opening kills, and then Exile with the good lurk, trading efficiently. 5-4 in terms of rounds, now 4v4 in terms of kills. Remember, Gambit on the T side of train. This is actually a very favorable situation.
Double AWP setup here for the Gambit boys on T side. You don't see it all too often.
Makes me sweat behind the knees.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of this, especially when you're going up against pistols and a scout. They can try and pressure you. They can rush you down if you want. And Fanny swaps back over to the A-cam. I'm a bigger fan of how this could play out now. He's getting very far here as well. Oh, he did just spot Poison jumping up. Flames in a really nice spot, but the flash comes through and the teamwork is here. Gambit knowing exactly where to flash, where to prepare for what could be happening. Poison just standing in the flames, nowhere to go.
He chose his death.
He went,
sometimes you have
I can either get the shot, I can just die to the flames. I'll sit here.
But you see, the hell position, I call it hell, so that quad side, the flash is always perfect. Really hard for Complexity to stand in here. Gambit definitely have a protocol to take that part of the map, so if Complexity want and stand their ground here, they're going to need to have a double setup with one player looking at the wall, something like that, because they've always been flashed in these duels.
I just want to put a bit of a perspective on the match you're seeing right now, because the level of gameplay right now, I do believe, is very, very high. I don't think Complexity is playing a bad game, but I think Gambit right now are super, super on point, especially when it comes to teamworks. They find the openings and all that kind of stuff. Now, judge that, with what we saw yesterday in the North American side, Chaos against Rugrats, right? How many times did we see anyone flash for each other in the, with the effect, that we see today? Not a lot, So there's a lot of stuff that can be learned, and there's a lot of stuff to take away from this game, but I just do want to put on the point that Gambit right now, they're not playing against a Complexity who are not playing well. They're simply just playing better as of right now, and that in itself is a very impressive statement to make. And
very impressive from Gambit that they took so many hits, right, after getting a good early start after the pistol, and then they've now come back into it. They took that timeout, and they've been able to run it back, and Nafani again aggressive. He's taken the fights. He did enough damage to JKS there, walked away with a kill, and Poison, well, he's caught slipping. He wants to go aggressive at B, but Hobbit is ready and waiting for him. Now we're in a 4v3, and JKS, he's only got 15 health left.
How do you react for Complexity right now? How do you react? I think Rush is going to be absolutely key with the AWP. That's one kill found towards Ivy. Gambit are splitting apart a little bit too much here. They could end up dropping a huge advantage. Beautiful nade onto Shiro. JKS going to come and help his teammate to make sure no one goes back lane. But at the meantime, Hobbit has been taken inside. But they were split apart. They decided to still go on with the move because they thought it would take too long to rotate, which I can understand.
But they got loads of time, and luckily, Hobbit is now so far in the back of the site. He's checking every corner. He's doing the work needed here. He's being ever so patient with it. But Gambit, they're still not aware. They're going to look and wait to see if Hobbit can find a big lurk move to play off of here. JKS, he needs to be oh so careful. Oh, his feet were found. JKS does take a shot, but that's all he'll be able to do. Rush and Blame now have to be very careful. This is a winnable situation for Complexity for sure, but it's going to rely on Rush hitting some big shots here. He comes out and misses. Oh, the duck comes in. Inters. He takes down Rush, and now it's all on Blame. His position might be completely unknown. He may have the element surprise on his side. But now Gambit are together as a team. They're facing on to Blame. They've actually given them the 1v1s. This is not good. Shiro, 39 health against Blame. Blame is genuinely winning these kind of duels. This is where his big brain play comes in. The flash goes up. Oh, he just tucks out into it. Misses the shot. The nade's going out as well. He has to be careful. He has to duck away. Blame puts the smoke down, puts himself up high. He's trying to force Shiro out, but he's ducked himself away.
He lost him. He lost track of him. He doesn't know where Shiro is. Shiro had the best move at the best timing possible. You can see Blame absolutely convinced that Shiro is still playing close to him through the smoke, behind the slide or something like that. But Shiro, that Molotov could be
no.
to the left. Shiro has really made the best move possible now. It's about tucking in and making a gamble, and Shiro will win it. Great attempt by Blem. If you were right, he made it almost possible with that great spray. He had the best position as well. But Shiro, he just snuck in at the best timing towards Connector.
This is what you got to be very careful of with your Gambit, though. They made the right decision to group up again there, but you saw when they took on Blame, they took the fight, the first few bullets went off. Hobbit and Inters, they were a bit slow to come together and try and fight him.
I don't think they were ready to have that fight.
No.
They didn't realize he was here. As soon as JKS finds Hobbit, they realize that the plan, Complexity realized the plan is always to play the A side. So we could see Rush going in with the AWP. If he hits that shot, that could have been the round. He misses it, leaving Blame F in a 1v3, and with that, the chances. But even then, his position was so uncalled for, so special that they didn't see it coming, and it got really messy. Gambit nevertheless stabilizing the situation now, looking at an anti-eco with some money in the bank and already 7 rounds on the board. We talked about Gambit, we talked about their ability, and they are looking fantastic.
So interesting right now, right? When it comes to Complexity, CT side 4 rounds at the moment. Do you consider this to be enough? Do you consider this to be kind of a big problem for them? Should they be getting away with more?
It is a big problem, especially because they do struggle quite a lot on train. They've lost the last 3 times they played it, and it has not been some impressive T-side. So the fact that they already now are giving up, well, at least 8 rounds on the CT side, that's going to be a bit too much, I think. There's not a lot of stuff JKS can do about this. And to be honest, right, I think Gambit right now are feeling quite comfortable where they're at.
Yeah.
They're already at 8 rounds. They could go for 9, 10, potentially 11. And I think that would be the dead punch right there for Complexity. No doubt when Config is playing the way he is right now, when he's feeling it as much as he is, on the T side, he has an opportunity of opening up a lot of rounds. But to do that 8 times, 9 times, potentially even 10 times just to get it to a draw, that's going to be too much, I think.
I want to take a second to give credits to Hobbit, because the amount of space he's been creating on his own with almost no backup whatsoever, finding 2 key duels, but also making sure that Complexity can never ever give up the inside was massive. We see the reaction coming in from Complexity. They take control of team middle. Could be one way to alleviate the pressure. Now is the time Gambit decide to put all their eggs in one basket towards the B bomb site. Poison is already in position, which means that JKS himself have that bait and switch setup. He's covering over towards Paradise, and then JKS is going to be looking towards inner. Smokes are being deployed. The first kill from Poison, that's a hit. It's going to be all onto JKS now. Do they check him? Is the flash good? Oh my god, JKS, that was almost! Inters will be here with the trade, making that a 3 versus 3. Molotov being deployed. It's going to completely annihilate that position, but here comes the flank. Inters is so aware of the situation. Great shot onto Config. That was it. That could have been the round for Complexity right here.
If you're Complexity, you may think about just saving this for now. And that seems to be exactly what they're doing. I'm going to take you guys back, right? Look at when Gambit called the timeout. It was 3-3. And then they have just been running it back. They found the solution. They slowed things down. They calmed themselves. And they've come back into this T side.
We asked for it, right? We asked for them to find a solution, because the beginning, what worked was Nafany coming out, finding the opening duels, and we thought to ourselves, okay, it's going to be a replica of what we saw yesterday when he was doing the same thing against Cloud9. Now, they showed us that the plan B, well, hell, it's even stronger than their plan A right now, and they're doing a fantastic job. Matthew said it just before Hobbit. He's been toying with JKS on the inner bomb side. That recalls for JKS to tell to his teammate, all right, boys, I need some backup. I need a smoke for me. I need some attention. I need a flash once in a while. And right now, even in a good position, he's not getting it done. So right now, it's fair to say that I think Complexity are feeling very uncomfortable, and the fact that the first timer comes now, being down 4-9, that's a little bit too late, isn't it?
I love AZ. Rush has more career Molotov kills than AWP kills. There you go.
Probably
he
my
picked up the
situation
AWP to
too.
save it onto. You know, some people, they're just really against it, yeah.
They just took it away from me when we moved on to CSGO. They just didn't want me to snipe.
Why is that? 'Cause you
Well-
had Kenny on the team, you know? Probably one of the best to ever do it.
I think we were pretty much toe-to-toe with Kenny and myself. I mean, some people disagreed. Some people disagreed. I don't know what this stuff is about.
Maniac. Kenny's still playing, bro. You're here with us. And I love having you here.
I decided to step down to give others a chance, all right?
Okay.
About being humble, opening up the
generous.
possibilities.
Definitely sounds humble. Definitely sounds humble.
People don't understand me anyway.
Just let's get you back onto that whole role of, what is it? Titan. You make Phaser Titan, become Phaser's GM. That's.
I want to know. I want to know how many ops Maniac have dropped to Kenias throughout his career.
Probably a million. Speaking
find
of ops,
out.
look at this poison. This time around, the answer might be coming in from here.
Oh.
I say that though, that's a miss, and automatically 72 HP being taken away from him, triggering obviously the reaction as we see on the minimap. Jake is gonna come to help his pal. Poison toying with the idea of regaining information. That is high risk, high reward. The zoom will be heard, that's information taken, but now you gotta get away. You're not gonna sustain that fight. That's with the help of JKS and the FAMAS. I've never been able to use that weapon, but he can. First kill from JKS, second kill, beautiful from him. Repositioning on top, he's gonna walk towards lane now. Waiting, gambling, and Intern is here to punish him.
Now this is still winnable for Complexity though. JKS, he kept them at bay. The bomb has not been planted. Inters, he's looking to get up close and personal. He's trying to find a way to push the defenses of Complexity back. He doesn't want to allow him to have a full assault onto this side. Rush pops on through, and he does manage to get the kill onto Axar, but in the meantime, Config's gone down. Rush has been spotted. He loses his head as well. It's all up to Blame F now. It's definitely winnable. He's got the chance, but he can't get it done. A 10th round now for Gambit, and their T side is too hot for Complexity to handle.
And they found the weak link within Complexity. I gotta say, JKS and Poison, they haven't been able to make it work on the inner bomb side. They have ideas, they have crossfires, they have setups, but so far none of them have been successful. JKS with the FMS, it's a tough weapon, right? But even then, he didn't get the kill quick enough to not let Poison die in that position.
Yeah.
And you know, the synergy between the two, the level of gameplay as of right now is simply not up there. So I think they are struggling a little bit finding out how to do it.
Yes! Thank you!
Maniac has
Scar
more
20,
Scar
that
20
works.
gifts.
It's just an automatic sniper.
Isn't that because you guys used to play Dust 2 a lot, and when you were up so far, you used to buy the Scar and just spam it?
It is possible
You
that we
did
used that gun back in time.
I think that I remember
But
Maniac.
blame Xist. He started it, okay? Xist started that whole
The
Scar
war.
20 madness, right? We just answered at the time.
I remember you guys all sat there rat-a-tat-ing with the Scar
Yeah,
20.
the Stalingrad tactic on that
Yeah.
too, just hitting T-spawn. Just
The worst kind of people. The absolute worst kind of people.
You gotta just explore, you know, you gotta figure out the possibilities. Speaking of possibilities, Nafan is willing to go and fight. He's showcased it many times. That's information taken. I think he saw a shadow, and indeed, wait a minute, he just lost that duel versus the UMP. Thank God Hub is here to help him. I thought he was done for.
Yeah, I was thinking UMP, that distance, no hope at all. Blame F, he's going to have nades thrown out towards him, but he still wants to try and push on this. JKS has to be careful, and he is. He's got the backup of Poison as well, and they deal with Hobbit. This is a great chance for Complexity, but they've actually taken a very forward position. They're taking space away from Gambit.
That's a risk. That is a risk. Interns seem to be aware. He is so aware of the situation. Jake is somehow winning that duel. Shiro now in 1 versus 2 on that position with the AWP. Not the gun you want to have. Preferring the P250, going the long way, but surely they anticipated. Surely they know he's coming from the side. Shiro's going to get the first one. Does he realize JKS is here as well? He should. That now the duel. The nade is going to be perfect. Or is it hiding behind the toilet? Somehow JKS is alive. Not for long. 2 versus 2. About 45 seconds to play with. But Complexity have interesting positions.
It is Rush on a scout, Blame F on a UMP.
Oh,
Blame
no, scout.
already tagged down. Shiro and Axar looking to push up into B. Rush has gone on higher, and they might go lower. It's all going to come down to this timing. They may not expect Rush from this position, which means he could potentially be good for one. He's going to go have a look around. He is going to check lower. This is the smart play to make. He comes up into it, but he's being tagged up. He gets the frag onto Axar, and that's absolutely huge. Shiro already down on 39 health. Blame F coming to give him the backup, but he's still quite far away. Rush having to go down there. That's just painful for Complexity. And now Shiro's position.
He's hurt him. He's hurt him.
Uh-oh, they saw
He knows
each other.
what's
And Blame, he gets it. Shiro, he wasn't sure when to take the shot. He wanted to make sure it hit, but he was not going to be given the chance. Blame saves the day in the end. Complexity do get a 5th, but this has not been good.
Not at all. It's been a very, very poor half for Complexity. They save it by the end, getting another round, but 5, I'm not too sure that's going to be enough, James.
Well, let's find out if 5 is going to be enough. Complexity will need to battle back on their T side after the break.
Santa to my soul. Yeah, I got love on my side on the one-way track. Racing like an arrow, darling, all the way back to you. Once you put another X on the map, you're the only light. House on the hill or a satellite. Ooh, you keep me coming right back to you. Sometimes I lose all of my focus. Sometimes I let it all in. But you can exercise the demons and get me out my head. You show me what love is. Home is more than where my stuff is. When I'm out of control, you bring Santa to my soul. Yeah, I got love on my side on the one-way track. Racing like an arrow, darling, all the way back to you. Once you put another X on the map, you're the only light. House on the hill or a satellite. Ooh, you keep me coming right back to you.
$10-5 after the first half, and it was Gambit on their T side. At one point it was 3-3 and Complexity looked to have Gambit solved, but then they called a timeout and things changed for the better. Now on their CT side, where Gambit have had a lot of success in the past, it is their map pick, but is it going to be enough to take down Complexity? They need to come with a different form in this one.
The thing is, they have already put him in a make it or break it situation here for Complexity. Not winning this pistol round, I think that's it. I don't think that train is notoriously known to be strong. They lost 3 games in a row, and if they want to fight all the way back against a well-playing Gambit, the pistol round is very much needed. They put them in a rough spot already now.
Config slowly trying to work his way in. Could get double peaked, and they deal with him no problem at all. Again, we talk about that synergy from Gambit, and they dispatch of him. Axar spotted out more as Complexity want to try and swarm this A site. The smokes are down. Inters is spamming away with the USP. He gets away with that one, but they're all just getting headshots. This is Gambit, activated and ready. They're all together now as a team, as a unit. And Blame F, well, he may get one, but it's a one and done. 11th round secured, and both pistols now picked up for Gambit, but this one was much more convincing.
Everything seems to be working for Gambit right now. You could see they have the right idea. They pincer rush at the best possible moment. They clear all that side, all that threat coming in from Ivy is just out the window now. They can only focus towards Popdog and middle, and then Nafany coming in clutch. But you have so many USPs with that line of sight. Long distance combat, the Glocks never stood a chance. Beautiful round from Gambit, and as Jacob was talking about, Complexity now in a very dire position. They decided to go for the full force. We can understand it. So far, granted on the positioning, it looks to be an A pincer move, but they're gonna work slow, trying to get some kills, trying to get some picks. A little bit of damage onto interns. It's just a deagle so far, but it's a little bit scary. We know things can get out of control with the deagle.
We've seen it before. We're gonna see it again. Question is if we're going to see it from Complexity in this round. It is very, very much needed. JKS haven't had a good half so far. He's at 140 AR, and people may think, okay, judging by the stats, well, he's up there with the best. He's done a lot of damage, but he also saw a lot of action on the inner bomb side and couldn't quite close it down together with Poison. So stats don't really paint the full picture of JKS' performance. Hasn't been up to par with what we know he can do. Complexity find themselves in a rough run right here. They have to make it work. A couple of smokes and an outside push is about to happen.
Complexity right now do need to respect Gambit. As Inters set up high, trying to drop down, got the Famas in hand. He's got Axel on the other side of him. The Fanny's close as well. They're going to try and see what they can do here if Complexity do want to push out. They've got the positions, but that's a headshot landed, and that's exactly what Complexity needed to start things off. Is it going to be enough, though, as Axile is pressured, more damage done towards him, but they can't finish him. And this, again, it starts turning in Gambit's favor. It may have won one kill to start it off with, but Complexity then exploded, and guess who was ready for it? Gambit's preparation, Gambit's positioning, that coordination.
They flirted with the breaking point. Gambit were very, very close to let it go in that round. If Axile wasn't here for the double kill, that could have been it. But you talk about, disjoint, and you talk about the synergy. I think Complexity in that round were not exactly together. The pressure from Ivy waited a little bit before the teammate could actually explode.
Yeah.
Which is why Axile had all the luxury in the world to just focus ahead of him and then turn around. That could have been a absolutely beautiful pincer move, but it wasn't meant to be. Gambit get away with this round quite cleanly after all. You can see the money looking quite comfortable. Already 3 players making bank, and this round shouldn't be any different. Just a couple of upgraded pistols. Rush has the bomb on his back, but it doesn't do damage, only if you plan it. Doesn't really work out. You cannot just throw it on someone.
Imagine if you could. Boop, 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 boop.
Just arm it.
Run around, go. Sounds like an entirely different way of playing Counter-Strike.
Sometimes you gotta think outside the box, right?
That's what Complexity are thinking right now.
For Complexity, the game now is to very quickly make an estimation and evaluation as to Gambit's defense. Granted, probably not gonna win that round. It's gonna be about making money with the bomb plan if they can, but it's also about scouting. What is happening? Where are they playing? How are they playing? Grab that information, because we know the scoreline. They're not going to have that many chances. I say that, though. JKS is opening up the debate with the perfect way. Headshot with the Tech 9. Some damage onto Nafany. I don't want to end that round too quickly, because that could be it. Nafany, good kill, though. Stabilizing the situation. And on a 4 versus 4. Make that a 4 versus 3.
Axon needs to be careful. He's got the M4. It needs to do some big work. He spotted one player, but his teammates are dispatching of everyone else. Now it's all on BlameF. He does have a Deagle, but he doesn't have the armor. He'll deal with Shiro, but there's still so much more to find. They try to get on the bomb. They instantly do it. They bait out BlameF, and a 13th is secured. And there is so far for Complexity to go if they want to bring themselves back into a fight that seems like they don't have any fight in it.
If you look at this round isolated, it was a great attempt by Complexity. They got close, they got the bomb down, and they built up a bit of economy coming into this round. But little does it help when you're down 13-5. They need rounds, and they need them now. They cannot wait any longer. They cannot get close.
Small steps.
Small steps, sure, but you gotta
I'm
take
joking,
one at a time.
you're absolutely right.
You gotta take one at a time. You gotta do something. You gotta put something on the scoreboard, and so far they have not been able to do it. Shiro have been playing well, and I would say the entirety of Gambit have been playing well together. There's little to no difference between all the players when it comes in terms of fracking. Everyone is challenging in, everyone is finding impact, and it's a real team performance we're seeing right now from Gambit.
So Hobbit's been pushed out of his position, but we can see on the map the rotation is just waiting a little bit. Maybe Hobbit realizing he can handle it alone. Finally, Shiro's gonna make his way towards his inner anchor. But Complexity haven't quite made a decision. We see the bomb going in towards the B halls, indicating that B execute might be on the cards, which means the setup for Gambit could be perfect. We've seen Complexity, when they were on the defense, fail to defend this attack with 2 players. Can Gambit show a better face, show better efficiency? It's gonna be the name of the game. James, do you believe? Do you believe Gambit can do it? Do you believe they can hold the B execute, what Complexity couldn't do in the first half?
Shiro, he's ready for it, and he does start off with the first. No refrag in there. Hobbit to back him up. This is beautiful from Gambit. Textbook and Config. He's having to push through the flames. Look how much damage he's chased. He may get this kill onto Shiro, but he's... What? Config, you are not supposed to miss those.
Oh, and he gets knifed. That round is the most heartbreaking round I have seen in the last 8 hours of my life.
Gambit don't even look excited. Look at the cameras. They should be like...
It's just one day in the office. It feels
normal.
like... Okay,
it's normal.
This just feels like a sci-fi movie where they have access to 8 seconds into the future, and then they just plan ahead, right? They said, listen, Config's going to come from behind, put down that Molotov. He's going to miss me. I'm going to one-shot him with the USP, and then I'm going to knife this last guy, making it to 14. Sign me up.
That is an alternate reality and a half, Maniac. Oh, that was legit. Honestly, I was just like, okay, Shiro's going to die and then someone's going to refrag him. But no, He turns around.
You have to be a believer, James.
Batters him
I thought you were a
with the
believer.
USP. I'm more than a believer. Yeah, I put my name on the line for this. I went all in on Gambit. And Gambit have gone all in on Train. More kills going their way and Complexity. What did I say at the beginning? Do Complexity have the fight in them anymore? Doesn't seem like it.
I'm scared about what we see from the crosser placement. I'm scared about the shots. It feels like they're not quite activated. Maybe just caught a little bit off guard by what Gambit are putting on the table for this game. JKS trying to do something about the situation now. A minute to play with. The bomb is down towards Ivy, so no real reason for Gambit to pick him. Say that though. Hobby's fancying his chances. That's one way into the round, but still. 11 HP, his position known, bomb on the ground. What can he do? Justin, can you do miracles?
It will be tough. Has nothing to work with outside his AK-47 and 11 HP. Time isn't in his favor either, and Shiro also have a Molotov that he could put on the bomb if he wants to, if at any point he were to get pressured. So should be no way JKS is going to win this round, and frankly, I'm not even sure if you should go for it. Maybe save the AK and see if you can be the hero for next round. On the other hand, you're down 15-5 in just a couple of seconds, so there's no reason not to go for it. JKS with an 8, not connecting that one either, and with 14 seconds left, there should be no way, and there is no way. Gambit have won 8 out of the last 9 matches on Train, and they're about to make it 9 out of 10 games. And not only are they winning, but they're completely outclassing Complexity.
Yeah, this is the thing. We talk about this matchup. We talk about Complexity being the favorites. And what, they rank number 4 in the world right now?
I'll take your word on that. I'll take your word for it. They're probably
number
up
9.
there.
Close.
Number 9? Okay, cool. It's number 4 in the DreamHack ESL rankings, you know, that side of things. So, Complexity either way, top 10 team. Gambit are only aiming to be a top 15 team. That's what they told us in the interview.
Well, it is their map pick after all, and they're showing us why. Very well polished. Shiro doing exactly what Poison couldn't do in the first half. Holding the line, grabbing that first kill, then moving away, putting Gambit once more in an advantageous position. 5v4, 15 rounds. They only need 1 to put that first map on their belt, to push Complexity. Their backs against the wall. Inside's been tested in the past, and they always pass with flying colors. Shiro once again with the kill. He's doing it all. He's gonna peek again, because why not? He's got the confidence, and he's got the kill as well. It's only BlameF and Poison, 2 versus 5, with the hopes of NA in Europe and everyone, but it's not gonna be enough, James, is it?
They have got it all going from Shiro on for the ace, but guess who's coming from behind? Nathani comes in to close it out. It is a 16-5 victory for Gambit on their map pick of Train, and they have looked so good, so impressive. The same performance we saw yesterday. Some people would say, oh, it's a fluke, they shouldn't have won a game like that. No, this is a legit team who's been putting in the work.
They were looking even better today, to be quite honest. There was not a single aspect in this game where they weren't better than Complexity. When it comes to the opening duels, they got them. When it comes to maneuvering around the map and constantly playing in pairs of 2, bait and switch, and basic team play, basic Counter-Strike team play, Gambit were the better team, no doubt. If they can continue the level of play that we've just seen on Train, then Complexity, even going into their own map pick on Mirage, they will have to fear Gambit. Right now, they're playing some damn solid Counter-Strike.
And this is the thing, Gambit are in such a good position. This game was amazing. This was a game that many of you may not have expected. But overall, one thing you definitely got to do is respect Gambit's name. We're going to be going to a break, and when we come back, we're going to try and delve deep into all of this madness. Gambit show us how it's done on Train. A dismantling of everything that Complexity had to offer. They were not prepared, they were not ready. They did put up a fight at the beginning, but that was it.
It was not enough. It was not enough. At the scoreline 3-3, you thought to yourself, okay, we have a game on our hands. Both teams, they're willing to play. Both teams came in hot and fire. But at that point, it was like Gambit switched gears and Complexity just couldn't follow. JKS in particular, I don't want to single out a single player, but I think now it's an interesting case. When you look at his stats, he's a plus 100 ADR, he's plus score as well. He didn't have a great game. You talked about it as well. He was stat padding a little bit in the beginning, getting some easy anti-eco kills, and you think to yourself, okay, gain confidence, get into the game. But every single time they came inside in a buy round, him and Poison just couldn't keep up with the pressure that came from Gambit.
Hobby did a fantastic job, you know, pressuring, winning these 1v1s that are basically worth millions. If you're the inside player and you lose that duel versus Hobbit, then suddenly the whole map is open. And then, as Jacob is mentioning, even when they had full execute on, that double setup, that bait and switch was not enough. Gambit were able to make their way onto the bomb side and make a huge difference.
He really made a huge difference with it. And again, we see a Gambit team performance. Shiro at the end nearly walking away with the ace, right? 4 kills, just locking it down as they rush into the B site. We're going on to Mirage next, though, right? Now, this is something where I expect Complexity to bring their absolute A game. I expect the individuals to show up. But Gambit can play this. And we know right now, you spoke about it, I think, Maniac, the crosshair placement from Gambit just looks better than what Complexity were offering.
Yeah, they look to be doubting, right? When I see a player, you know, in the game, in the action, I try and see how precise they are, how direct they are in the duel, if they're messing around just a little bit. And I have to admit that Complexity looked a little bit shaken in that game.
Yeah, definitely. There was one player I feel who can be his own performance proud. That was Config. He really tried in the beginning of the game to make the difference. And he seemed like a guy who didn't hesitate at all. His crosshair placement was on pair, but Blame F, we talked a lot about in the last couple of weeks. One of the best fraggers when it comes to in-game leaders out there. In general, one of the best fraggers in the world. He couldn't do anything against Gambit. So sure, there's some unreleased potential within Complexity, but they will have to do better than they did on Train. There was not a loss, you know, there was a complete outclass of Complexity.
And this is something a team like Complexity will not be happy with. We know how hard Blame F talks about working here, but have they maybe changed too much around JKS? Because they told us before, right, back at Blast, that, oh yeah, it was easy. We can actually just slot him in.
And that's the feeling we had. I felt like JKS slotted in almost perfectly in that lineup when we saw them play, when we saw them win. That's the key aspect. When we saw them win, it looked to be very well polished. Now, we have to put into context what's happening with Complexity. First of all, they did not qualify during the showdown, which for them is a problem as well. Now they come in here, facing the risk of losing to Gambit. It's slowly adding up. The pile is getting bigger and bigger, and pressure is mounting on them. They need to win that game. Because, and what would we say of what would make of that result if they were to go down 0-2 to Gambit? For a team like Complexity, that'd mean trouble.
It really would mean trouble, and we're about to find out if it does spell trouble for Complexity. Gambit are up 1-0, but we're going on to Complexity's pick. Even though it was 16-5 in Gambit's favor on the last map, we expect a better fight coming out of Complexity. Let's see if they've got it.